everyone, let's talk a little bit about using pull quotes to add those crap principles to our design. So I am going to, you can see I have an 8.5 by 11 set up and I've got a 3-column layout. One of the things you might not have noticed, but I do want to point out, is that I have at least 1/4 inch of a gutter in between my 3 columns. Now that is not the default in InDesign. So to fix that, you can go up to Layout, Margins and Columns, and under Columns, put in the number at 3 and the gutter at 0.25. I think it just gives a little bit more breathing room than the default in InDesign. All right, let's go over and grab some text from our Word document. So I am going to just do a Command A and copy. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of drop a ruler to about 1.5 inches. And I'm going to draw my first text box underneath that ruler and then paste my text in. And you'll notice that it's running off of the page right there. Not a problem though. I am going to draw 2 more text boxes. 1 and 2. And then going to my selection tool or my black arrow tool, I'm going to select the first text box and click on that little plus sign right there and link it to the second one. Do the same thing on the second one. Click on the little plus sign and link it to the third one. Now I need to come up with a headline, which again is going to give me some nice contrast on my page. So this is where that first or that margin I kind of gave at the top is going to come in. So let's grab and do a Command X because I'm just going to get rid of it. Paste in my headline right there, and then I'm going to draw another text box underneath. And I'm going to paste in my byline, and I'll bring up my text. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to think, what's a good font for a headline? Well, we can think about those font choices that we had in our discussion during week 3. Remember when we were talking about what is a better font choice for a headline? And Frutiger Bold, great font choice. So if you have that font, I would suggest using it for a headline. Could have sworn I had this on my machine. But I might need to do a search for it. There we go. Knew I had that somewhere. There we go. So I'm going to go with Frutiger 95 Bold. And I like my headlines to be centered. Again, this is a preference. And, you know, maybe I want to right justify the name and line it up with the right-hand side. So you can see where I'm dropping a couple of rulers with the right-hand side of my headline. And for this, I'm going to go with Frutiger again, but I'm going to just go with the italic. All right, next, because I have used Frutiger for my headline, I'm going to start to think about my sub headlines. I want to use Frutiger as well. And then I think that a nice serif font is a great font and would be a great, balance with Frutiger. So I want to start to think about my body copy. By putting all of my text in like this, you can see that 12-point type is probably going to be a great font size for my body copy. So I'm going to add in a new style. And again, I've got my paragraph styles open. And I'm going to double click. And I'm going to name this one body copy. And I'm going to go to my basic character formats. And I'm going to go to, let's see, maybe Baskerville. And I'm going to go to 12/14 and see how that looks and hit OK. And I'm going to select these 3 text boxes and attach that body copy to it. So select everything. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave that. And I'm going to, because I now know that, all right, 12/14 is going to work really well. Let's see where I dropped my guide at 1.5 inches. I'm going to actually make a baseline grid and set it up for my body copy. So I wanted to start at 1.5 relative to top of the page. I want it to increment every 14. I don't want it to be in the back, and I'm going to change my threshold to 60%, and we'll double check that and go to View, Grids and Guides, and show my baseline grid. And then I need to go to my body copy, again to that style, and I'm going to fix that style. And go to indents and spacing and align to grid. I want to align all lines and hit OK. So that's nice. So now I'm going to make my subheadlines based off of the fact that I've been using Frutiger for my other headline, just not as bold. So let's do a new style again. This is going to be my subheader. And instead of being 95 black, I'm just going to go with 75 black and maybe 16-point type. And I'm going to align it to the grid and see how that does, and then we'll take it from there. Whoops. Do not want to attach that. See how I had it selected when I made it? I did not mean to do that. So let's just quickly fix that. And I want to say it might have been 48. Ooh, I remembered that. All right, I'm going to just name this style headline. Go. Oh, come on. There we go. None. Where did you go? There we go. I think I hit enter on the text box. There we go. All right. So now that I've fixed that, now I can go in and I can attach my style, my subheader style. And you'll notice, oh, it defaulted to being centered because it was basing it off of my headline. I don't want it to be centered though. I think I want it to be left justified. So I'm going to go in and fix that. So let's go to indents and spacing, and I'm going to left align that. There we go. And then add this subheader right here. And you'll notice, ooh, that doesn't fit on the page, and it also bumped this up here. You know, I think it probably has to do with lining them up to my grid. So I want to say that I'm not going to do that. And these are the things that you need to look for when you're setting up your styles. Right. And I'm still not happy with this, but I'm going to leave it right here for now. And then I need to remove this area from right there. And let's think about a pull quote. So what's a pull quote? It's a quote that's going to entice someone to come and read what it is that you want them to read. So this is the birth of a user and, you know, about graphic designers. So maybe we can say something like, why, for example, are readers on the web less patient than readers in print? That's a good quote. That would really, you know, kind of get me in because I'm that way. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to just kind of throw it in the text box over here and leave it there for a moment. Now, your pull quote should basically offset the rest of your text. Now, where I have this one line right here that I'm not really that happy with, maybe I can use my pull quote as a way to kind of fix that. So I am going to start to draw a rectangle. And I am going to go from the middle of this column here to the end of this column right here. And just so I can see what I'm doing, I'm going to color it in, go to my swatch panel right now, and I'm just going to color it in black. And then I want to offset the text around it. So what we're going to do is we are going to wrap the text around. So let's go up to Window and go to Text Wrap. And that is going to give us our options. And I'm going to click on the one that says Wrap Around the Bounding Box. And you'll notice how it moved it on the left, it moved it on the right, but it's sitting right on there. Let's add a little bit more to the top. And that's perfect because now these two columns are really evenly spaced. And what I can do is I can remove the return on this one, that extra return I don't need at the top. And boom, this column is nice and spaced right down to the bottom. So let's design our text that's going to go inside of this pull quote. Well, first, because we drew the box second, we want to make this text box be on top. So let's go to Object, Arrange, bring it to the front, plop it on there. I'm going to change my font to white so we can see it. Don't know why you're not showing up. Oh, I know why. We need to override this text from being part of the text wrap. So let's go do that. Type or Object, Text Frame Options. And we want to ignore the text wrap for this one. There we go. And you'll notice how I'm not extending the box to the edges. And I didn't make a black background on my text box because I want there to be some sort of an offset for my text on the sides for this pull quote. I don't want to just go from edge to edge. So now I need to start and think about, all right, my pull quote. I'm going to go with Baskerville still, but in italic. And I'm going to make the font bigger, which means I need to make, whoops, this bigger, my leading bigger, and maybe I want it to be centered. And let's take a look at this. Let's preview this. Maybe bring it to 3 lines. So I'm doing a shift enter here. And there we go. See how this has added instant contrast right to our piece.